Welcome to the Millionaire Maker Show, a podcast helping online coaches monetize their life's work and scale their businesses to create more time, more money, more freedom, and more impact. Now, with over 20 years of business building, coaching, and consulting experience, here's your host, author, speaker, and creator of the Millionaire Maker Coaching Funnel, Lindsay Anderson.
Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Millionaire Maker Show. I am your host, Lindsay Anderson. So excited for today's episode because we are on episode 2 of my Scaling with Social Media series. Last week, we talked about setting the foundation for your $1 million online business with a fail-proof business blueprint. Make sure you go and listen to that episode before you dive in here because you need a real foundation and a real plan for how you're actually going to build this $1 million business. It's not just going to suddenly appear in front of you because you hustle a lot. You need my fail-proof business blueprint, and I gave that to you on episode 1. That is my one-page Millionaire Maker funnel that will show you how to monetize your expertise online. If you want my step-by-step plan, make sure you listen to episode 1. Now, once you have a plan and you have products and know what you're going to sell, then you need a marketing machine. You need a place to go get high quality leads. That is exactly what we're covering in this episode. The answer is organic social media is the place where you should go and find high quality leads that fill your Millionaire Maker funnel. Next week, we're going to talk about building a scalable content machine, how to take what we do on social media and actually make a machine out of it so you're not getting burnt out, so you can create lots of content in mass, and not only just content, but content that attracts your perfect customer. And then we're going to talk about how to seal the deal in those sales calls. So it's an action-packed series right here on the Millionaire Maker Show. It's called Scaling with Social Media, and this is episode 2. Now, before I get into sharing with you how to go out to social media and actually start to attract that right fit client, you got to know how to do it, then you scale it. And so this episode is all about how to do it. First of all, I want a big shout out to everybody who has left the Millionaire Maker Show podcast a review. Listen to this one. This is Chronic Pain Specialist says, "Hey, Lindsay, so many podcasts are filled with fluff. They give you general concepts and ideas that you have no way of implementing on your own. Not this one. Lindsay shares her top strategies from the get-go with specifics that you can implement right away. Already looking forward to the next episode." So take it from Chronic Pain Specialist. Go and hit the subscribe button. Follow me for this series. Now, before we hop into today's episode, make sure that you are signed up for my Unlaunch Method workshop. That is starting on November 6th. If you are listening to this past November 6th, still head over to theunlaunchmethod.com. You will see where I am teaching my next Unlaunch Method workshop. This is a 5-day workshop that shows you exactly how to create a $1 million online business, as well as high quality lead source and how to seal the deal in the sales cycle. It's my entire system. There is no gatekeeping. It is my passion to share with people a step-by-step system on how to actually change lives and sell more programs. And so that's why I give the Unlaunch Method workshop. It will be the best marketing and sales seminar you have ever attended if you are looking to sell your expertise. And you want to sell that expertise and not get burned out. You want a step-by-step system. So go get signed up. It's theunlaunchmethod.com. I will look forward to seeing you live on that workshop. I am best consumed live. Go and time block this thing and make it a point to come every single day live. Now, I understand there's a lot of you who are on the other side of the world, and we try to schedule these so it really fits with most people's decent hour. But if not, and it's the middle of the night for you because we service a worldwide audience, then listen to it at the same time every day. Be with us and go participate in the Facebook group so I can really help you build this online business. I'm giving you absolutely everything in the Unlaunch Method workshop. Let's hop into today's topic, which is how do you attract your right fit clients on social media? Here's what you need to know about social media. It's exactly like fishing. If you're fishing for trout, you're using a certain kind of bait. If you're fishing for halibut, you're using a specific kind of bait. Fishing for clients on social media is exactly the same way. You have to figure out what your bait is. Once you figure out what your bait is, then you can mass produce it. So that is why niching is so important. And people say niching a lot, but it really is finding the bait. And what is the bait? The bait is a mix of three different things. The bait is understanding your niching, who these people are that you service, the messaging, the words and actions and video and imagery that you're using to actually talk to them, and the positioning. How do you compare with others in your market? When you go in knowing these three things, then you're able to know what your bait is and replicate that to continue to attract high quality clients. But this is all easier said than done, right? And it's easy enough for me to say, hey, you need to niche, position, and message. But Lindsay, how do we actually do that? Well, the method in which you do that is going to be the one true client method. So listen to me and take me very literally here, okay? It's not that hard to find your bait, but this is a step-by-step system that you really need to listen up. So step one, and you have to know this, is that you cannot go fishing for someone you have never caught before. And if that person is not in your real experience, because how we show up on social is relating to that person. We're sending messages and signals. And unless we have a clear vision of who that person is on the other side, you'll be sending all sorts of mixed signals. So step one in the one true client methodology is to number one, understand what your positioning is, because many of you service people across a broad range of cost of price points and service levels. And so when you come to the Unlaunch Method workshop, I will show this to you in a graph, but what it is you have two axes. If you can picture this, okay? One axis is money, how much someone will pay you, how much they have paid you. And on the other axis is going to be quality. And the fact is, when you start talking what I call lower left-hand quadrant people who are only willing to pay you low price and low cost, and that is the bait you are using, you will never be able to grow your business. And so leave that to other people to service people low cost, low price, low transformation. And instead, what you need to do is really start focusing on a high quality, high price. And the way we do that, and it ties perfectly back in with the Millionaire Maker funnel, is through one-on-one coaching. You charge a lot, it's high transformation, and you are able to get influx of cash into your business. And so you'll want to go find upper right-hand quadrant people who will pay you a lot, people who value your coaching, people who have the ambition level, okay? That one true client. You have to find someone in your experience that will pay you for the transformation, has the transformation that you are offering, and pays you what you are worth, and is a true pleasure to work with, that if you had cookie cutter versions of that client, you would be on cloud nine. And if you wanted like hundreds of them to come to you through social media. So the good news is you only need one of these in your experience, and you can just get started by simply interviewing this people, but they have to be in your experience. Many times when I teach the One True Client methodology, people do two things. Please do not do either one of these two things. Number one, they create a Frankenstein version of this person, this one true client. And it is somebody, I liked the way Barbara paid me, but Matt had the transformation I was going for, although he didn't pay me. He didn't want to pay me. He didn't have the funds to pay me, or didn't value what I offered to pay me. But I'm going to go ahead and combine those two. You can't do that because that's not truly one person in your experience. The other thing people do that's a mistake is they sell to themselves. My one true client is myself. I went through this transformation because I know what I went through and how much hell I went through and how much pain and torture I went through to actually get to the end. I would, of course, pay myself to save me from that pain. But you cannot sell to yourself. You're too close to it. This person cannot be you. Once you figure out who that one true client is, and you can literally come to me, people in my Content That Converts program, I will say to them, what is this person's literal name who is in your experience? And then I will continue to ask them, do they have the ambition level? Did they pay you? Were they at least willing to pay if you're just interviewing them? Did they value coaching? Like, who is this real life person? And then you take the name of that person and you put it on a Post-it note. And every single time you step up to create a piece of content, create a workshop, do any kind of marketing or sales activity, You simply check in and say, well, what would David think of that? Is that well positioned to David? Would David care? Is this relevant to David? And if your answer is no, then you can't do it. If you want your niching, messaging, and positioning to be on point and sharp, razor sharp, that's what builds a big company, is razor sharp marketing and sales. And the razor as sharp that is the more you're talking to David. And that even comes into play when it comes to building intimacy online and how you're even talking to the camera. If you're talking to people in a wide, hey, everybody, this is my Instagram, and you're talking broadly and you're not just like, okay, I know David is watching this. Well, hey, David. Okay, you don't say, hey, David, but it's like, hey, so I was just thinking about this. And when you get that real, like you're just talking to one person on the other side of that camera, your one true client, hey, David, just wanted to let you know this. That is when you have your niching, messaging, and positioning nailed down. It's not that hard. People resist this step. They don't want to put themselves out there. There's confidence problems. But literally having one true client in your experience, putting that name on a Post-it note, and every time you do a marketing or sales task, ask yourself about that. That is the answer. So I teach in Content That Converts to go and interview people as long as they are in your experience, so you kind of know how they react and understand what their problems are. It is so important. So important. Speak to this person. I'll give you an example. I had a health and wellness coach come to me. Her name is Sheila, and she was getting a lot of referrals from her clients, and she was charging high dollar. She was selling a 3-month coaching program for $5,000. She could sell this thing like hotcakes until she got on social media, but every lead she got from social media said they couldn't afford her and didn't really value what she brought to the table. She had this disconnect. In private or behind social media, she was attracting the right people, but in front of social media, they were all tire kickers. And so I walked her through the one true client process. She changed her messaging, her positioning, and niching, and talked to one person that she was servicing in that one-on-one client role. One person that if she had cookie cutter versions of that client over and over in her audience, she could make sales and she could make a lot of money and she could make a big difference. So she did that. She put it on the Post-it note and she started speaking to that person on social media. Within 2 weeks, she made $37,000. The point is, everybody's on social media. You can get high quality clients and close them into your programs from social media, but you have to use the right bait. The right bait is that one true client. Now, that's one thing you got to know about social media. The next is conversations equal clients. When you are out there on social media, you want to be actively marketing. People dream of passive marketing. I'm just posting some videos on social media and people will come flocking to me. My DMs will be plump full of inquiries. It doesn't work that way. If your social media is not functioning the way you want it to, okay, it hasn't caught fire yet, you haven't really lived your full potential yet, that's because you're passively marketing. You have to actively market, which means on social media, you treat it like your black book and you do some virtual networking out there. You take 15 minutes, you look at your black book. Who do you already follow? Go and support them, okay? Support each other. What are they up to? Go get to know them through social media. You know, even a heart, they get a notification. Hey, I support you. That's a big message if you want to get to know people. So you treat it like a black book and then you spend another 15 minutes virtual networking. Who else do I want to get to know? Who else can I support? Who else do I want to notice me? The law of reciprocity states you go notice them, then they'll notice you. And when you approach social media from a micro point of view and you care about these one-on-one relationships and you truly treat it like virtual networking, the macro will take care of itself. Now, once you're doing the black book and the virtual networking, make sure that you have your consistent content stream going out to your audience. This will nurture and expand your audience so that your black book strategy and your virtual networking will work even better because the social media algorithms will work in your favor. Here's something that you need to know is that if you're sitting around blaming the algorithm, I hate social media, the algorithm just hasn't taken my content to the next level. Dang that algorithm. Know this and write this down. The audience is the algorithm. If the algorithm isn't serving your videos, it's because your videos aren't very good. So take that as a hint, and instead of giving the algorithms all of your power and just waiting around, do some introspection and say, okay, well, I've done this kind of video for a week. I'm looking at my analytics. People are not that engaged. Maybe I'm getting some followers, but my followers aren't that engaged. I need to step this up. It's not right. I've got to do another idea. I've got to try something else. Everyone's audience is different. And while I provide a framework, okay, next episode in the Scale with Social series that we're doing is all about what exactly to post on social media to get your right fit clients to actually be attracted to you. To this episode, we talked about who would even know what that is. Who is that? Next episode is, okay, now what do you post to attract that? What does your bait actually look like? Now we know what we want to catch. It's all about iteration on this thing, okay? I will give you the groundwork. I'll give you the iterative steps to take. That's coming from feedback, but you're the one who has to put your brand on that and your messaging and your niching on that. And when you put those on top of my methodology, the one I teach in my Content That Converts program, the one that I teach here on the podcast, there's no stopping you, especially when you go in understanding it's an iterative approach. Just like anything else that we learn, it's a skill that you have to learn. And to be able to come on camera and just pick up the phone and have content be effortless, it is available to you, but you have to develop that skill. And that's the iterative approach that I'm talking about here. You have to approach social media not from, oh my gosh, this reel is actually going to take fire and I can't wait for the next trending audio to come out, to, no, this is one post in 100 of social media posts. It's my marketing strategy. It's something I do consistently and something that you can't afford to not to do. Know this, content is king, but consistency is queen. And that is because consistency allows your customers and your prospects to see your content in that effort, in that content creation, feeding them and nurturing them, but also helps you develop a system. Get out of content yourself and hand that off to a VA and team member so you're not constantly bogged down by content. But you have to know what content works first before you can hand that off. So you follow a strategy and a system like mine, where you're posting, you're evaluating, you're iterating. You're posting, you're evaluating, you're iterating. And it won't take you long before you understand what works. And because the consistency is there, you will definitely be attracting the high quality audience and getting better and better and better. So one more thing that you have to understand when it comes to attracting right fit clients on social media is, how do we get them off of social media and into our programs? Make sure you're always including a call to action. Do you want them to listen to a podcast episode? Do you want them to join you for your freebie? You should always include a call to action in the caption. That looks like, hey, if you want to know more about this, I have a free resource. DM me the word resource below and I will send you over a link. And so when they comment, it opens up those DMs to actually start a conversation. Invite them to a workshop. Invite them to a one-on-one call. Hey, if you want a one-on-one call, make sure you comment this. I'll send you over a link for next steps. Hey, my name's Lindsay. This is what I help people with. Here's a free PDF. Now, my favorite way to do this is to say, hey, I have a free resource. I don't say the word workshop. I don't say the word PDF, because people have preconceived notions about those. They'll say, I always go to workshops. They're always so full of fluff. So to get around that, you say, I have a free resource. Comment leads below and I'll send you over a link. Now, when they comment leads below, then you can go up and you're welcome to DM them and message them. So you message them and invite. Now, my killer move is to invite people to what I call an invite-only event. This is a 50-minute masterclass that I give on rinse and repeat that doesn't sell a program, because I help people in a few different ways, but it actually sells my expertise, digs into their problem, gets me in front of the right people on enrollment call, creates intimacy, and gets people off of social and actually onto an enrollment call. And I give this thing on rinse and repeat, and every new follower, every new heart, I try to start a conversation. I go up to stories and I create a quiz, and for every answer on the quiz, I try to start a conversation. These individuals are engaging with you first by even hearting or making a comment or answering a quiz question. Start the conversation. Conversations equal clients. And then when that conversation starts and you have an invite-only event in your back pocket, meaning you don't have to create this thing from scratch, and you know with just the title alone, it attracts your perfect customer because it hits their pain points. And then you say, hey, I have a workshop coming up. Let me know. I have a few free tickets available. Let me know if you would like an invite. And they say, yeah. And you say, it's on November 3rd. You have a conversation with them back and forth. The more back and forth they have with you in those DMs, the more you're a real person to them. Hey, it's on the 24th. Can you make it? Would you like a ticket? Can you come? They actually check their calendar. And then when all of that is out of the way and they say, yes, I would like that link, then you send them over a link and watch them RSVP. When you add this intimacy and this dance of inviting people to your invite-only event, a very small amount of back and forth, and they actually acknowledge you as a human being, and then you bring them into a live, intimate setting where there's only 10 other people there, selling coaching and programs and courses and memberships in this way becomes effortless. I don't even have to plan this invite-only event. It's just happening every Thursday that I'm not in launch mode, and I know it continues to keep enrollment calls on my calendar all year long, and I don't have to prep anything, and every time I give this thing, it's even better. So invite-only event. I'm going to cover that on episode 4 of the Scale with Social series that we're doing here, but it's powerful. This is what my schedule looks like. I launch 4 times a year. I give the invite-only event every other time in between. That's my launch schedule. Then I have my marketing washing machine going because people just get washed around in that because everybody is everywhere. You are starting with social media because it's free and it's your black book. So you start there. Then you can throw in podcasts. Then you can throw in guesting on podcasts. And you have your email list. And when you have the marketing washing machine, they're always hearing from you. Then you have a conversion event calendar with 4 launches a year and invite-only events in between. You're off the revenue roller coaster, and that is your system. That is your system for consistently enrolling high-quality clients into your programs using organic social media. So there you have it, folks. Another awesome episode of the Millionaire Maker Show. We talked about how to niche, message, and position on social media, understanding who your one true client is, having a very clear vision of it, and then modifying your bait with understanding its niching, messaging, and positioning, and doing that in one fell swoop by identifying one true client in your experience, somebody who actually exists that you can always spot check with every time you market. I'm going to do this reel. What would they say? I'm creating this workshop. What would they say? Otherwise, your messaging, niching, and positioning is not spot on and as sharp as it could be. Next week on this podcast will be episode 3, what to post on social media in order to attract these one-fit clients on social. Know this, you're not an influencer, okay? You got to post like a business owner online. I'll teach you how to do that next week. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you leave me a review if you enjoyed the Millionaire Maker Show and you enjoy the straightforward tactics on how to really, what it takes to really grow $1 million business online. Please make sure you leave me a review. Don't forget to get registered for the Unlaunch Method workshop. Go to theunlaunchmethod.com and I'll teach you my entire system over the course of 5 days. Until next week, cheers to you and your success.
Thank you for listening to the Millionaire Maker Show with master business coach and creator of the Millionaire Maker coaching funnel, Lindsay Anderson. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Until next time.